Shelly Thornton was a toddler when Roe v. Wade was decided in 1973, and she has lived most of her life in anonymity, never knowing as a child how her very existence was at the center of that landmark case.
For decades, Shelly Thornton has been living with a truth she's kept close to her heart.
For a long time, you didn't tell anybody who your biological mother was. What kind of weight was that?
It's a lot of weight. I don't want people finding out that Norma gave birth to me and then be like, oh, so it's because of you that all of this stuff has happened.
Shelley, now 51, is the biological child of Norma McCorvey, better known as Jane Roe, the plaintiff at the center of the landmark Supreme Court case, Roe v. Wade. Norma was pregnant with Shelley when she sued for the right to have an abortion in Texas in the early 1970s. And even though she won, because it took longer than 2 years for the case to be decided, Norma was never actually able to have the abortion and gave Shelley up for adoption.
When you are able to really think about the idea that your mere conception brought about arguably the most controversial Supreme Court ruling in history, what's the impact on you now?
Well, now I understand that it has nothing to do with me. It just happened to be me.
Norma, who died in 2017, was a complicated firebrand in public, and her daughter says the same was true in private.
How would you describe Norma?
Very self-centered. It was all about her.
Now Shelley, who for years was not known publicly, is breaking her silence in her first broadcast interview.
Why are you deciding to tell your story now?
It's time.
Although Roe v. Wade legalized abortion, the controversy and the debate never went away. Just this past weekend, thousands joined forces to fight against new laws like SB 8, which now makes most abortions in Texas illegal after 6 weeks.
How can you be pro-life and force a young girl to become a mother before she can even get her driver's license?
It's a legal battle that began 50 years ago.
My name is Norma McCorvey, a.k.a. Jane Roe.
In 1969, Norma was 21 years old and living in Texas when she became pregnant with Shelley. She'd already given up 2 of her daughters for adoption. Wanting to terminate this pregnancy, she sought to challenge a state law that made abortion illegal. And against all odds, she won. But 22 years later, in 1995, she famously and very controversially changed her stance, joining the radical anti-abortion group Operation Rescue.
Ms. McCorvey, what happened?
I became a Christian Tuesday night. I was baptized, and now I've changed my position on choice.
Then, in 2017,
this is my deathbed confession.
A stunning revelation, as documented in the FX and Hulu film A.K.A. Jane Roe, telling the filmmakers that she never truly supported the anti-abortion movement.
I took their money and they put me out in front of the cameras and told me what to say.
I think she used as much as she got used.
As a baby, Shelley was adopted by a couple in Dallas.
Did you ever look for your biological parents?
No.
But in 1989, little did she know that Norma was looking for her. Shelley, then 18, says she was walking outside when she was approached by people in a van.
And they were like, your birth mother has sent us to find you. Do you know who your birth mother is? And I said, no. And they said, well, we would, like to meet with you and tell you about her.
Shelley and her adoptive mother agreed to meet them at a restaurant.
The investigator told us that the person that she was working with was a reporter for the National Enquirer. And then my mom was just like, you need to tell me right now, who is this person? And that's when they told me. Her name was Norma McCorvey, so that makes you the Roe baby.
What's your emotional state like at this point?
I'm just kind of in shock. And then my whole thinking is everyone's going to blame me for abortion being legal.
Have you felt like people want you to choose a side?
Oh, definitely. Because I mean, even at the interview with the investigator and the National Enquirer, they were asking me, well, are you pro-choice or pro-life? I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
Do you have an opinion about whether women should be allowed to have abortions?
I do. It's an opinion that I keep pretty close to my chest, just because I don't want either side or both sides coming at me.
Having discovered the identity of her birth mother, 18-year-old Shelley eventually connects with Norma by phone.
She basically was like, I just really wanted to make sure that you're okay. And then it came to the, so are you going to do the interview? And I was like, do what interview? And she was like, for the National Enquirer. And I was like, oh, so this isn't necessarily to find out if I'm okay. This is, you want to have like this big like reunion.
Would you have been interested in meeting with her privately?
I don't think so, just because I knew that she had 3 kids and that she had given us all away.
Norma was quoted as saying at some point, I gave them all away so that they could have a chance at living.
I believe that she gave the first 2 away for that. I don't think she wanted me at all.
She was quoted as telling a reporter in 1981 that abandoning Shelley filled her with guilt. And then in 1985, she said, I would have much rather that I had an abortion. Where do you land with hearing just such a harsh comment?
There you go, right there. She gave up the privilege of having any kind of relationship with me when she made those comments.
But Shelley was interested in having a relationship with her older half-sister, Jennifer Ferguson. The two met for the first time a few years ago.
I came to her house and I just knocked on her door and I was like, hello, sister.
Yeah, it was an amazing connection because we had talked several times on the phone before that.
Jennifer is Norma's second child. She, too, was given up for adoption. Unlike Shelley, Jennifer didn't have to wrestle with the knowledge that her birth mother considered aborting her.
Have you been able to forgive Norma for giving you up?
Yes. Yes. I've forgiven her for that.
A big conversation now is SB 8. What do you think about the new law here?
It's a little bit scary that people can judge how women are what they're gonna do with their bodies. I have a problem with that. Not that I'm pro-choice, pro-life, 100% either side. I want what's right for everybody. I want it to be equal.
Today,
This is me and my mom.
Aw.
two sisters are trying to make up for lost time. And while they both work individually to make peace with a complicated past, they now look to a new future together.
What do you all bring to each other's lives at this point?
Support.
Comfort.
I'm loving it now that I got my sister right here beside me and we can conquer things together. And that's something that not many people get to do.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.